So, are carbon race wheels worth it? Well, the short answer is yes. They definitely make you faster. The long answer, it's complicated. You can probably find bigger gains elsewhere, but carbon wheels might be a good choice for you. So I did a little science experiment. Hang in there, find out what's best for you. So first of all, to do these tests, I needed a power meter set up on my training bike, my rim brake training bike. So I reached out to 4eyes, and they hooked me up with this flagship unit. It's the Dura-Ace, double-sided. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's pretty sweet. I chose 4eyes because it's really small, it's light, and it's really accurate, plus or minus 1%. It's good for the tests I'll be doing. Plus, it's easy to install, like especially if you already have Shimano. This thing took me literally like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to set up on my bike. Oh, and this is my training bike, by the way. I had a lot of people ask me. It's the BH Ultralight. You know, it's a pretty relaxed geometry. I think it's designed to be a climber's bike. I bought it used. It's a great bike. It's pretty comfortable. It's not very stiff, but it's a really good light frame. Gets me to work and back. And to be honest, with these wheels on it, it's a backup race bike too. I could definitely race on this thing. I use it to get to work and back, and I also use it on rainy days. All right, let's get into it though. The first test. So to be honest with you guys, I am piggybacking these tests on my November intervals I like to do, sweet spot intervals. So what I needed was a stretch of road where I didn't have to touch any brakes, didn't even have to get off the power, and I could do about 20 minutes at about 320 watts or so. And turns out that's a pretty hard road to find in the Bay Area. But I ended up finding one a little bit south of where I live, and what I did was on that road I picked a starting point and an ending point. And once I had those 2 points established, I got on the bike, I kept the same exact position, I didn't get out of the saddle once, and I did 2 runs, which were identical in every way, 320 watts, as consistent as possible. The only difference between the 2 runs is one of them I had the carbon race wheels, the other one I had the alloy clunkers. And let's talk about those for a second. So the training wheels are Shimano's absolute cheapest training wheel, alloy training wheel you can buy. There's no aero profile, they're not particularly light, they're not aero at all. They are the R500s, and despite the fact that they're the absolute lowest end you can buy, they are only about 300 grams heavier than the Bontrager Aeolus, which are my race wheels that I'm using for this test. So the Bontragers are kind of, they're the run-of-the-mill standard, kind of mid-tier Bontrager offering for race wheels. They're the Bontrager Aeolus 5s. I think they're the 404 equivalent. They're kind of no-frills carbon wheels, but they have a good aero profile, and that's the point of the test. I'm comparing those two. So what did I find? 19 seconds saved over about 20 minutes at 320 watts, which isn't a crazy amount, but it's considerable. You know, if you think about, say you get in a breakaway in a road race, something like that, it really makes a difference over the course of like an hour, 2 hours, even 3 hours. That difference becomes pretty significant. And that was all I originally planned for this video, is to test the 2 wheels with the 4eyes power meter. But then I got to thinking, you know, like what if I just changed my position a little bit? So that's what I did. I ran another test. And the second test, just like the first test, it was the same bike, it was the same course, it was also 320 watts for about 20 minutes. But in the second one, I just kept the same wheels. The only thing I changed was my position. And to be honest, this picture right here, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit. It's a very small difference in position. I call the first one the club rider position. It's just a very relaxed, body's upright, it's pretty comfortable. And then the second one is like the crit position, or, you know, like a breakaway position. It's a little bit aggressive, but it's very sustainable. And it's worth mentioning that I didn't change anything on my bike. It's the same stem. All of the geometry on the bike is identical. There are no changes there. And so what was the difference when I changed my position? Pretty shocking. It was a full 84 seconds faster in an aero position compared to the 19 seconds that you get for putting on some expensive carbon hoops. All right, so bottom line, are carbon race wheels worth it? I'm going to stand by my original statement and say yes. From a pure performance standpoint, there's no arguing they make you faster. And there's also something to be said for having a dedicated set of race wheels for race day. There's like this morale boost component to it, you know? You get in the mood when you put the race wheels on. They're kept out of the rain. There's not many miles on them. They're in good condition. A lot of benefits to having a good set of race wheels. They don't even have to be like expensive, exotic carbon wheels. But here's the tricky part. Is it the best way to spend your money from a pure performance standpoint? Well, maybe, because you could get a huge aero benefit just by changing your position on the bike, and that's free. You could even pay a little bit of money and get a professional bike fit. That's not free, but you're probably going to get a huge benefit there too. So the question you guys probably want answered is, what is the best way to spend your money and get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of performance? Well, I'm going to put up a very subjective list right now, and maybe in future videos I can test this list. Or if you guys want me to test out specific equipment or something like that, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this new content, and as always, click subscribe if you like it. Catch you guys at the next one.